This year has already been a tough one for motorsport fans across the globe. Dale Earnhardt, Bob Wollek, and now Michele Alboreto. The Italian driver was fatally injured in a crash in his Audi in testing on Wednesday of last week and was buried in his hometown on Friday. He's left a wife and 2 young daughters and a legacy of memories which ensured that he will be remembered long beyond the beginning of this century. The cause of the accident has now officially been defined. DEKRA, the German investigatory group, was asked by the State Prosecutor's Office at the nearby town of Cottbus to investigate the accident, and the conclusion is that a sharp item punctured the left rear tyre, throwing the car off the track and out of control. The Audi team were testing at the Lausitz complex, which includes the oval and an industry testing ground. Michele Alboreto, Formula One star, touring car ace, and now sports car racer. Among the many to pay tribute to him was Ferrari's president, Luca de Montezemolo. He said, "Michele played an important part in the history of Ferrari. Intelligent, he paid a great deal of attention to the technical problems involved in developing the car. His death has been a hard blow to take and has filled me with a deep sadness." And that comment, I'm sure, is echoed around the world by fans of all branches of motorsport. The likeable and fun-filled Michele Alboreto will be sorely missed, not least by the Audi team this coming weekend at Le Mans pre-qualifying.
On n'a pas vraiment de
Stefano Ortelli, a teammate of Michele Alboreto's at the EOS team for 4 years, was testing the Bentley that he'll race at Le Mans at the Lausitz ring last week when the accident happened. He said, "I don't have words to express my feelings. Michele was a hero to many generations and somebody who I shared a lot of good times with. And of course, my first thoughts are for his wife Nadia and his 2 girls." He said, "These kind of shocks just bring home to you, of course, how dangerous motor racing really is. And it's going to be hard for me to forget the last couple of days we spent together at Lausitz when we were testing with the teams." He said the final images I will keep of Michele are those last ones of huge smiles and his huge and overpowering passion for the Le Mans 24-hour race, to which he was looking forward enormously. And Michele finishing on the podium as part of Audi's clean sweep last year, also remembered by Jean-Paul Driot. Driot, the Dams team owner, of course, entered the Works Cadillacs last year and will be entering them as well this season. We spoke to him at Barcelona before the cause of the crash was known, about the problems of modern Le Mans cars. He said when you look at the design of these prototypes, you can see the huge flat floor on the car, and that of course is used to try and keep the car on the track when you're at speed. Sometimes, he says, I think perhaps the engineers push a little bit too far on the aerodynamic front, and as a result, when you take off some of the downforce that sticks the car to the ground, there's a problem that the car can potentially take off like a plane. Planes take off at 300 kilometers an hour, and if you think that Michele was around 330, 340 Ks when he crashed, well, you only have to think back of the frightening Mercedes accident that happened to Peter Dumbrek in 1999. Yannick Dalmas the year before in the Porsche at Road Atlanta. And of course, of the BMW at Sebring. He said, until Michele, all those drivers were lucky to walk away. And it's a tragedy. I knew Michele very well since he and René Arnoux were at Ferrari. Arnoux, of course, former colleague of Driot's in the Dams team. He said, "I hope his death will at least influence a new era of rules for these cars." Well, Well, Jean-Paul also tried to explain why the cars are so sensitive to aero changes. He said obviously at Le Mans you need maximum aerodynamic downforce without too much drag, and the downforce and drag coefficient is what we play with most to try and get the best maximum speed. In motorsports, when you are at such a high level, it's very extreme. The research is pretty extreme, but as in aviation, when a pilot dies or a plane crashes, you must use all the technology at your disposal to find out why and to try and avoid these problems, to impose a minimum level of downforce for the prototypes. Well, we also talked to Sébastien Bourdais, who finished 4th at Le Mans last year with the Pescarolo team, the first non-Audi drivers, about these crashes and how he feels about improving safety at Le Mans. Sébastien says there was already a big step forward last year with the addition of splitters on the rear bodywork to try and avoid the car taking off like the wing of an aircraft if you have a rear suspension failure, but it's very difficult to manage that in a 24-hour race because of all the debris, the rubber, the curbs and so on. In racing incidents, splitters can be damaged. It's very difficult, and I'm sure that we've got to think about it and try and work towards making it safer, but there is no 0% risk option in motorsports. That'll never exist. Well, Audi will be at the pre-qualifying weekend, but Michele Alboreto will be